Welcome, my name's Helen, and we're going to be moving through a really gentle, mainly back bend focused sequence today to release tension through the whole of the spinal area. We're going to start coming over onto our stomach. So I like to lie completely flat on my belly, stacking my hands one on top of the other, and then resting my forehead on top of my hands. It might be that you take a little bit of time just to wriggle the hips, to release the elbows slightly wider, or you might like to have your head resting to one side because that supports you to find rest and relaxation more. Once you've found a place to be, you could choose to let the eyes close or just soften the gaze. Start to notice your breath. In this position, we're encouraged to start to notice the kind of press of the inhalation as we open the belly down towards the ground and expand the muscles and the breath into the back body. And then let the exhalation completely go, feeling how the back body and the stomach gently draw back in. Keep traveling the attention with the breath. Noticing what you are called to notice, and letting these first few rounds of breath be like a reacquainting of yourself with your breath and with the muscles that support your breath. Notice how the breath starts to expand outward, like you're filling up the sides of the waist, the sides even of the hips, of the lungs, all the way to the armpits perhaps. And then also release from these same spaces, feeling the body expand and then release. If at any time you feel like focusing on the breath is making you feel uncomfortable, or there's a sense that you're forcing or pressing with the breath, try to come away from that and work more gently with yourself. If your head's to one side, you might change it to the other side, and then continue to notice the breath. In today's practice, we're going to be working to let the breath do a lot of the work for us. So rather than pushing or forcing yourself into any shape, into any pose, letting yourself instead tune into the fullness of your inhalation and the complete release as you exhale. You'll notice that the attention will come and go, and that's our practice. The coming back to the breath, the coming back to the body. Take about 3 more steady rounds, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. At the end of your 3rd round or thereabouts, place the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes, press yourself back, hips to your heels. You might untuck the toes. Open the knees wide enough so there's some space for your belly. Arms reach forwards, or arms stack underneath the forehead, or fist stack underneath the forehead. Or you might reach for a block so that the forehead is completely rested. Let yourself find extended child's pose. As you did when you were lying flat on your belly, explore the space that you're creating in this shape in your back, and also the space that you're creating in the stomach and the front body to breathe into and to release from. You'll be here for about 3 more inhalations and exhalations. Let this be the last round of breath in this pose. On your next inhale, come up to your hands and knees and take a moment just to set yourself up, pressing the palms flat to the ground. Take a moment to wiggle the hips and just unstiffen anything that is caught through the lower back. You might do the same through the neck, through the upper back. Some people like a lot of movement, some people don't like much. Everyone is perfectly okay in what they choose. And then once you have found a bit of movement, come to choose stillness. Knees stack underneath the hips, hands or wrists stack under the elbows, underneath the shoulders. The neck is loose and easy. The chin is just slightly tucked to lift the back of the neck. On your inhale, come to your cow pose, lifting the hips, bringing the chest forward, lengthening the throat. As you exhale, press the shoulder blades up towards the sky and bring the belly in towards the spine at the end of the exhalation. Inhale, come forwards. You don't need to work to the end of range of movement. Just working to what feels right. Exhale, chin comes in, belly draws in, shoulder blades lift, the whole spine rounds. Keep moving with your breath. It doesn't matter which breath you're choosing to move on, just that your breath is still moving. You might notice there are parts of the back, parts of the body where there is more or less resistance. Sometimes the tendency can be to move away from the resistance, to kind of continue to prefer the parts of the body that have more movement. And you are welcome to continue to do that. Or you might start to slowly nudge attention, breath, and movement into those spaces where you feel a wee bit tighter. That might mean you hold for an extra breath in that place, or it might simply mean that you start to play with some movement into that area, or some breath into that area. We have about 3 more rounds. At the end of your 3rd round, bring the knees to touch. Sit your hips back to your heels in your choice. Either keep the arms out in front of you, release the forehead, or reach the arms behind you, palms face up, alongside your feet. Compressing the belly, encouraging the breath into the back body. One more resting breath. And the hands walk forwards of the knees. Walk yourself back into your hands and knees position. If you're feeling at all tired through the wrists or like you need a wee release, it might be nice to turn the hands so that you can take a moment just resting the wrists and stretching them out before coming back to hands and knees. Bring the toes together, the knees slightly closer, slightly wider rather than closer. The right hand slightly more to center, wrist, elbow and shoulder working to stack on top of one another. Inhale the left arm up towards the sky. Depending on your anatomy, you might be stacking shoulders over one another, or you might be working more towards the side. You could also be in more of a cactus arm if that works better for you. And you can see how I've pressed myself back. I'm going to see if we can start to work into the strength of our shoulder by coming forwards, as works for you. Inhale, reach up, wrap the right shoulder back. As you exhale, thread the needle. Left hand comes underneath the right arm. Rest the right side of the head to the mat and allow yourself to pause back of the left arm as to the ground. If you feel there's any discomfort in your neck in this position, shift your hips back towards your heels. You'll also shift your left arm back. Otherwise, stay as you are. Right arm could reach forwards, pressing up onto the fingertips to gently open you into more of a twist in this position. Take 3 rounds of breath. To move out of this pose, slide the right hand in front of your face. Press the right hand down, engage the belly. Shins press to the mat. You're reaching out of the left arm again. Breath up, breath in. Exhale, left hand down. Gaze to the floor. Take any movement that feels like it's calling you to reset knees, reset hips, and then we'll shift to the other side. Taking the left hand slightly closer towards the center line, reach the right arm up towards the sky. Check again if you've pressed away from your hand, if you could start to stack shoulder over elbow over wrist. If the left shoulder's popped up around the ears, bring it back. Right arm up, or cactus. You're opening the belly, you're broadening the chest as you wrap the shoulder blades on towards one another on the spine. Reach up with an inhale, and exhale, thread through. Settling the right side of the head to the ground, the back of the right hand to the mat. You might settle back if you're finding this uncomfortable through the neck, or if this is not comfortable for you at all, you could be in child's pose. The left hand might reach further forwards and gently press to twist you. And it's really, really common for us to have one side that we prefer or have more movement on, and one side that we have less movement on. On your next inhale, slide the left hand in front of your face. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Reach as high as you feel to. Then exhale, place the hand down to the ground. Sit the hips back to the heels. Release the forehead to the ground. Back into extended child's pose. The hips might wiggle. The arms can reach further forwards. You have the option of hands underneath your forehead again. We're going to move into a side stretch. Coming up onto the fingertips, lifting the forehead slightly. Walk the hands as much towards the right as feels good while still keeping the left hip down. You can stay up on the fingertips or relax the palms, the forearms, and the elbows down to the mat. Breathe into the left side body. Weight the hips down. Explore that expansive breath across the whole of the abdomen, the whole of the back body. Inhale, press onto the fingertips, lift the forehead, walk your way through center and exhale yourself over towards your left. Forehead touches back down. As much as you can, release the right shoulder, the right side body. Welcoming the breath into each pose. As you inhale, press into fingertips, walk to your center, and then slither yourself forwards onto your stomach. Bringing the knees in, untucking the toes, lying yourself down, stacking the hands underneath the forehead, acknowledging, feeling in, and noticing how your body feels to be back here again. We're going to move from here into our Sphinx pose, but the option to stay in crocodile is perfect. You're welcome just to stay and breathe. Alternatively, you're going to come up with the forearms on the ground, the palms. I'm going to go back a little bit so I'm on my mat. The hands are flat, and you could have the arms further forward to soften the curve in the back, or you could have them closer back towards you, but the elbows won't come past the shoulders. They won't come back behind the shoulders. They'll stay in front. We'll loosen the glutes by taking a bit of a wiggle through the hips and check that the neck stays relaxed in this position. there's a sense that you could energetically pull the elbows back towards the sides of the waist without actually moving them at all. Land into 3 steady, even breaths, exploring the breath into the places where you feel heat or sensation. Your next exhale takes you back down, stacks the hands, the other arm on top, the other hand on top, forehead rests. Take an inhale and a slow exhale. Coming to lie onto your back, making your way over there. Once you're on your back, bring the knees in towards your chest. You could either have your hands onto your knees, hands onto your shins, or you might even wrap the hands to wrists as you rock, less over the back and more over the fleshy part on either side of the back, of the spine, I should say. Place the feet down to the ground, and then hug just the right knee in towards you. So we come into Pavanamottanasana, or wind removing. On the right-hand side, you could interlace your hands onto the shin, relax the elbows. You've got the choice to keep the left leg as is, or extend the left leg along the mat. Toes point up towards the ceiling, and both feet can start to become active as you press the left knee down. Now notice that you don't just try and grip and grunt through the upper body, but rather that you rest as much as you can through the shoulder blades and the shoulders. And use a full inhale and a full exhale to bring the knee further in. 3 more rounds of breath. Let this be the last breath in this pose. Keep the left hand on the shin. Take the right arm out at shoulder height, palm flat to the ground. Then bring the right knee across the body. It could just start to nudge across. You don't need to even lift the hips off the ground. This might be quite enough. Or you might continue to roll knee towards the left side. If you are at home and you have a bolster or a block, you could place it underneath the shin or underneath the knee for support, or you could continue to come over into a fuller twist. The gaze can stay towards the ceiling, or if it feels natural for you, turning your head towards your right hand. Relaxing the shoulder blades. Use an inhale to bring your head, your knees, and your hips back to center. Give the knee a squeeze, and then place the right foot down to the mat. Left knee draws in. Interlace the hands onto the shin. Take a breath, acknowledging and feeling how the side is. Do you want to stay with the right knee bent, or would it feel good to extend the right leg out on the mat? To activate the toes towards the sky, and then to let the breath do the work to bring the knee in. Relax the chin. Rest the shoulders and the elbows. 3 of your own breaths, living into the fullness of your inhale. The release that the exhale brings. At the end of your 3rd breath, right hand stays on the shin, left arm extends out, or cactuses. Come across the body with the knee, checking at each stage how it feels on this side to move in this way. If it feels good to pause, then pause, otherwise rolling over into the fullness of your twist. Same options on this side to place a bolster or block underneath the thigh or knee. Same option to turn the head or keep it up towards the ceiling. How does it feel to breathe the spine on this side? Use your inhale to bring your head, your knees, and your hips to center. To hug both of your knees in towards the chest. And take your hands onto your shins, open the knees and the feet slightly wider than your hips, and gently rock. Bring the knees in towards one another. Place the feet down to the ground. Let yourself extend out, if it feels good, into straight leg Shavasana, or if you feel like the lower back is slightly sensitive, you might keep the knees together with bent knees, placing the feet wide enough so that you can relax the knees in to touch. Take the hands and place one hand over the belly and one hand where you feel your heart might be. Let the eyes close, the shoulders relax. Notice the breath underneath your hands. Notice the weight of your body into the mat. Letting your face turn up into a gentle smile, acknowledging your practice. Either staying here or taking your arms wide, your legs out, and taking some time in Shavasana